Hello, welcome to the Illumia MD Online Training Academy. My name is Victoria, I'm a clinical educator for Illumia MD, and in this micro-teach we'll be looking at how we can treat and address the skin condition aging. Before we can truly understand how to address and treat specific skin conditions, we must first have a solid understanding of the anatomy and physiology of healthy youthful skin. Knowing how the skin functions when it's normal and youthful and healthy will help us understand how some of these processes can misfire, leading to pathways that result in skin conditions such as acne, rosacea, pigmentation and aging. The skin is the body's largest organ. It's designed to help us keep our organs protected from the external environment. It's also designed to help our nutrition and energy inside the body. Its role also includes heat regulation, sensory indications, and it's designed to absorb some nutrients from serums, moisturizers, and medicinal creams. The skin is broken down into three separate layers. The epidermis, our outermost layer, which is made up of 95% skin cells. The dermis, which is made up of up to 90% collagen and elastin. And the hypodermis, where our fat cells, blood vessels, and nerve endings reside. Let's first explore the epidermis in depth. The epidermis is made up of 5 major layers, ranging from the stratum basalis up to the stratum corneum. The stratum spinulosum is only found on the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet, so the facial skin has 4 major layers. The basal layer is the point where new skin cells are made. In this layer we have epidermal stem cells, and the stem cells' job is to duplicate themselves, creating daughter cells. These daughter cells will then differentiate into keratinocytes or skin cells. These skin cells will make up the first layer of our epidermis. You can think of these cells a little bit like grapes. They're very juicy, there's lots of intercellular fluid, they have a very solid phospholipid bilayer cell wall which you could peel a little bit like the skin of a grape. These cells also have lots of DNA information and should have healthy levels of pigmentation. As the body makes a new skin cell layer, it pushes this previous skin cell layer onwards and upwards through the layers. This is called keratinocyte maturation. As these skin cells progress through these 4 layers, they will compact, they will start to lose some of their intercellular fluid, and they will begin to keratinize or harden. As they eventually become a dead skin on the surface of our facial skin, they are so compact that they almost look like a crisp or chip. You can think of these skin cells a little bit like bricks that make up a brick wall, and keeping these bricks nice and compact is the extracellular fluid. This, like the cement, keeps our skin cells nice and compacted and connected via desmosomes. You could think of desmosomes a little bit like a Velcro hook that keeps the skin cells connected. These desmosomes are very strong in the lower layers of the epidermis, where there's up to 85% hydration. As the skin dehydrates towards the surface, where there's as little as 15% hydration in the horny layer of the skin, the stratum corneum, these desmosome bonds can become weak and eventually snap. That's what allows these dead skin cells to shed off of the surface of the skin. This is natural exfoliation known as desquamation. Desquamation happens all day as we touch our skin, as the wind brushes our face, and as we cleanse. This is called cellular turnover, or a keratinocyte maturation cycle. In a young, healthy skin, this cellular turnover will take roughly 28 days, meaning that it takes only 4 weeks for the body to make a brand new differentiated keratinocyte, for it to mature through the levels, becoming a corneocyte on the surface of the skin that sheds off. This means that a youthful skin is excellent at replenishing and replacing damaged tissue. This damage could be a scrape to the skin, an acne lesion. It could also be sun damage or sunburn. Underneath the epidermis, we have the dermis, and this is where our collagen and elastin is made. There are 2 different types of collagen relevant when talking about youthful skin. Collagen 1 is responsible for keeping our skin compact, and collagen 3 is responsible for wound healing that occurs if we experience an acne lesion or slight burn on the skin. This is responsible for keeping our skin tight and taut. Both collagen 1, collagen 3 and elastin are made by fibroblast cells in the dermis. Some skin specialists would argue that the fibroblast cell is the most important cell in our skin because it makes up to 6 constituents, including hyaluronic acid, our body's natural hydration. Hyaluronic acid is a glycosaminoglycan cellular matrix that sits in the dermis that keeps our skin plump and healthy. The hydration made by our gag cells also contributes to our acid mantle that keeps the body protected from external environments and free radicals. Another component to this hydrolipidic barrier is sebum that comes from our sebaceous gland that resides in our hair follicle. The hair follicle is also sometimes referred to as a pore. So when people say I have blocked pores or open pores, they are talking about the hair follicle itself. The sebaceous gland resides in the hair follicle and is responsible for making sebum. Sebum is made up of ceramides, fatty acids, and squalene in the skin. When this sebum is made in healthy levels, and so is hydration made by our glycosaminoglycans in the dermis, they mix to make a hydrolipidic barrier that sits on the superficial layers of the skin. This does 2 major jobs. First of all, it keeps intercellular fluids inside the skin. This prevents transepidermal water loss. So if hydration tries to escape the skin, it keeps the hydration in, meaning that we maintain our healthy skin hydration levels. It's also designed to keep bacteria and free radicals out of the skin. As they try and penetrate our pores, they will be repelled by the acid mantle. Now, when the acid mantle or hydrolipidic barrier is in balance with equal amounts of sebum and hydration, we have a normal skin type. However, when we have more than one or not enough of the other, we can start to indicate as a specific skin type. For example, if you have too much oil, you would indicate as an oily skin type. If you have not enough oil, you would indicate as a dry skin type. If you have not enough hydration, you would present as a dehydrated skin type. Some people have not enough hydration and not enough oil. This would mean that the hydrolipidic barrier has been compromised, and that can lead to sensitivity. Some people will have a combination of both too much oil and not enough hydration, leading to a combination skin type. Now, some of these skin types will be closely associated to skin conditions. For example, oily skin is very closely connected to acne. Sensitive skin is very closely associated to rosacea, but there's not necessarily always a direct link. One skin condition that is not determined by skin type is pigmentation. Pigmentation in our skin is vital for photodefense. This means that the pigmentation that resides in our skin cells protects the DNA inside our keratinocytes from DNA damage from the sun rays, both UVA and UVB. So it's an essential part of our skin's defense. We have a Fitzpatrick system in the aesthetics industry that helps us indicate and identify a client's natural pigment level in the skin. A Fitzpatrick 1 would typically be a fair skin and red-head patient who's very sensitive to sunburn, right the way through to a Fitzpatrick 6 who would have a very high pigment, often black hair, and be very unsensitized to sunburn. Depending on somebody's natural pigment level, you could see sensitivity towards hyperpigmentation. The pigmentation in our skin is made by melanocyte cells that sit in the basal layer of the epidermis. You can see here the structure of the melanocyte is a little bit like a hand. The palm of the hand is the factory of the melanocyte where pigment is made, and they're produced into what's called a melanosome. Melana meaning menelin, zome meaning packet, a packet of pigment. This melanosome will then travel up through dendritic fingers of the melanocyte cell and will feed pigmentation into roughly 30 skin cells in its near vicinity. When the melanocyte cells are making healthy levels of pigmentation and dispersing the pigmentation horizontally throughout the skin, we have an even skin tone. When a cluster of melanocyte cells make too much pigmentation or start to disperse the pigmentation vertically, we can see patches of pigmentation on the skin, leading to an unclear and mottled skin condition. When all of our cells, including our keratinocyte stem cells, our melanocyte cells, our fibroblast cells and our glycosaminoglycan cells are all functioning well, we will have a normal skin type that looks normal and healthy. It's only when some of these cells misfire or misbehave that we present with a skin type. Now that we understand how the skin works when it's functioning healthily, we can explore individual skin conditions and how we can treat and address their symptoms. Now that we understand how the skin works when it's functioning in a normal capacity in a youthful skin, we can explore the physiology of an aging skin. Aging happens in all three layers of the skin, the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. Let's first explore what happens in the epidermis. We know that the keratinocyte maturation cycle or cellular turnover is governed by metabolic rate. This means the more skin cells you make, the more skin cells you shed. This also means the less new skin cells you make, the less old skin cells you shed. This can lead to a weakening of the support structure in the lower layers of the epidermis because there aren't as many new healthy skin cells coming through. This also means that the natural exfoliation of dead skin slows right the way down. This means we can see a thickening of the stratum corneum, which can leave the texture of the skin rough and bumpy, leading to a dull complexion. This build-up of stratum corneum can also prevent the penetration of some delicate ingredients such as peptides and antioxidants, meaning that the efficacy of skincare is reduced. As well as this dull appearance in the epidermis, we can lose support structure in the dermis. In a youthful skin, these fibroblasts would be producing collagen and elastin very healthily. This collagen and elastin would be aligned neatly with organized fibers. In an aging skin, the fibroblast cells in the dermis enter into retirement, meaning that not only do they make less collagen and elastin, but they also replace themselves less frequently. Also, the collagen fibers tend to become messy and unorganized, leading to thinning of the dermis. There's also an upregulation of MMP in the dermis, which are responsible for breaking down old collagen so that macrophages can take it away and it can be replenished with new collagen. When too much collagen is degraded, it leads to a thinning of the dermis, which can lead to lines and wrinkles. It's very important that we take notice of the epidermal-dermal junction when considering aging. In a youthful skin, this epidermal junction will be very wibbly-wobbly, meaning that per square millimetre of skin there's a huge surface area feeding oxygen and nutrients to the epidermis. In an aging skin, this epidermal junction can become very flattened, meaning that there's a very short surface area supplying much less nutrients to the epidermis, leading to this slowing down in cellular turnover. It's our goal as skin and medical professionals to reverse the signs of aging. We do this by thinning the epidermis, more specifically, thinning and compacting the stratum corneum, but thickening the density of the lower epidermal cells, and thickening the volume in the dermis to offer support and structure, reducing not only lines and wrinkles, but smoothing the surface appearance of the skin, enhancing the skin's texture and appearance. We will do this with chemical peels and correct adjunctive skincare. There's not a single skin condition that wouldn't benefit from a series of chemical peeling treatments. There's a common misconception that chemical peeling will thin the skin or make the skin more vulnerable, but actually it's the complete opposite. Chemical peels work by lowering the pH of the skin, encouraging dead skin cells to exfoliate. When so much surface skin is removed from the epidermis, the body responds by replenishing that missing skin with healthy new skin tissue. Stem cells are stimulated, they begin to proliferate new skin cells in the basal layer, and actually this is healthy new tissue with a very nice thick plump cellular density. So actually we increase the thickness of the basal layer, we increase the density and intracellular fluid of the lower epidermal skin cells, and we also thicken and strengthen the dermis by stimulating collagen synthesis. We compact the epidermis, making it strong and sturdy, helping to protect against the environment. This replacement of healthy new tissue helps to regenerate the skin and replace any skin lesions such as acne, blackheads, whiteheads, pigmentation. It improves the appearance of lines and wrinkles and will help with the overall complexion of the skin. The specialised chemical peels that you would select to address an ageing skin type or skin concern would be a 30% lactic acid peel. 30% lactic acid will work in the superficial epidermis to break down the keratin bonds that keep dead skin cells attached. This will trigger cellular regeneration, beginning to lower the epidermis, compact the horny layer, and stimulate cellular turnover. A 30% lactic acid AHA peel is ideal for early onset aging or those new to chemical peeling. Should you want to enhance cellular regeneration further and stimulate more epidermal rejuvenation by offering a deeper epidermal peel, you could utilize the Illumia MD Glow Peel. This is a modified half-Jesna self-neutralizing peel that contains 7% lactic acid, 7% salicylic acid, and 7% resorcinol. The lactic acid is hydrophilic, hydro meaning water and philic meaning loving. This means it will play around with the water in the superficial epidermis. Salicylic acid is lipophilic, lipo meaning oil and philic meaning loving. This means it will get into the hair follicle and help to trigger epidermal rejuvenation and reepithelialization from the hair follicle. Resorcinol is lipophilic, meaning it will work in the hair follicle. It's also hydrophobic, which means it will be driven away from the hydration in the surface epidermis down into the lower layers. The glow peel is pass dependent, meaning the more passes of the glow peel you apply, the deeper regeneration you will stimulate. One pass would be ideal for clients who are suffering with aging and rosacea or sensitive skin type. A patient with a thicker photo-damaged or more advanced aging will benefit from up to 4 layers of the glow peel. Be sure to make a thorough consultation with your client, understand your client's expectations and what they'd like to see from a chemical peeling treatment. When building a hyper-customized home care suite program for your clients with aging skin, they would all benefit from a prescriptive cleanser that would suit their individual skin type and preference of cleansing method. You could choose either the purifying gel cleanser if your client would like a gel wash. You can also select the Hydro Boost or SensiCalm cleanser if your client has dry, dehydrated or sensitive skin. All patients with indications of aging would benefit from the Bright and Clear solution, a post-cleansing exfoliating solution that will aid the desquamation of cellular debris. This 3% lactic acid solution will aid the desquamation of cellular debris from the surface of the stratum corneum and aid the penetration of all other ingredients. It's vital when addressing aging to introduce peptides and vitamin A into a daily skincare routine. Peptides such as matrixyl Syn-6 are collagen-stimulating communicators within the skin. They will allow the fibroblast cells to communicate to their nearby counterparts, stimulating collagen synthesis. The Ultimate Boost is a powerhouse hydrator that contains a therapeutic dose of matrixyl Syn-6 as well as hyaluronic acid to boost glycosaminoglycan action in the dermis, which will help to plump and support the skin. The Vitamin A Resurfacing Serum comes in 3 different strengths: 0.25%, 0.5% and 1%. Patients experiencing early onset aging would benefit from a 0.25% dose. Patients with advanced aging or a thickened skin due to photo damage would benefit from the 1% dose. No matter what percentage of vitamin A you have selected for your patient, be sure to introduce it into their skincare routine slowly. Retinol will have a dramatic effect on the cellular regeneration of the skin. It will support and stimulate the stem cells into making new skin cells. It will also help to support the synthesis of collagen and elastin. If used too frequently at the beginning of use of retinol, this cellular regeneration could cause an excessive shifting of dead skin. This could lead to slight redness, dryness and tightness, commonly known as a retinoid response in the skin. When vitamin A is introduced slowly, you will slowly acclimatise the skin into this higher action of function, and the skin will tolerate retinol very well, creating dramatic effect and improvement of lines, wrinkles, and texture and appearance of the superficial skin. Select a moisturiser of choice depending on your client's skin type. For early onset aging, the Hydrolite is a lightweight moisturiser that contains matrixyl and hyaluronic acid as well as glutathione for antioxidant protection. For clients looking for a richer moisturiser, the Hydrodew is a great alternative. Not only does it have matrixyl and sodium hyaluronate, it also has shea butter for that comforting feeling. The body is not able to synthesize collagen without the presence of vitamin C. So a therapeutic dose of 15% L-ascorbic acid in the vitamin-rich smoother would complement your matrixyl and retinol beautifully. If the client that you're trying to address the aging for lives in an urban environment, she will benefit from the Illumience's AGE serum. This targets anti-aging by protecting with 3 different prongs. First of all, glycation. Glycation is a process where sugar binds to a protein molecule and the protein molecule becomes stiff and brittle. The 2 proteins that are most affected are collagen and elastin, which is why sugar is so closely related to aging. Carnosine in the Illumience's AGE will help to prevent and reverse glycation that's happened in the dermis. It also contains powerhouse antioxidants, as well as vitamin C and vitamin E to help neutralize free radical damage in the skin that can lead to DNA damage and cellular retirement, both of the stem cells and the fibroblast cells. Not only does the Illumience's AGE protect against glycation and free radical damage, it also helps to protect against pollutants. Particulate matter 2.5 is pollution that has a diameter of just 2.5 millionths of a meter. This means that it is able to enter into the hair follicle and reach the dermis, wreaking havoc on collagen and elastin fibers, leading to advanced onset aging. The order in which you would apply these products in the AM would be cleanser of choice, followed by the bright and clear solution, followed by the ultimate boost, followed by moisturiser of choice, followed by broad spectrum sunscreen. No matter what skin condition you're trying to address, it's vital that we protect our epidermis and our dermis from harmful rays that come from the sun. When thinking about sun protection, there are 2 major rays that we need to consider: ultraviolet alpha and ultraviolet beta, more commonly known as UVA and UVB. UVB ray is the one that we all know about. It creates sunshine, it's nice and warm, it causes shadows, it's a nice summer's hot day. We all know about wearing sunscreen when UVB rays are out to play. In fact, we pay a fortune to go and sit in UVB rays on holiday. UVB is a short light wave that penetrates just past the stratum corneum in the epidermis. The body converts this light into heat. We know this is the premise of every light-based therapy in the aesthetics market. That heat can then build in the skin and essentially cook our skin, leading to sunburn. However, not many people are aware of the damaging effect of UVA radiation. Ultraviolet alpha is a long light wave that can penetrate past the epidermis via the hair follicle into the dermis, and it causes DNA damage to every cell that it makes contact with on the way down. Ultraviolet radiation accounts for 90% of our aging and can considerably make skin conditions such as pigmentation and aging worse by causing DNA damage to melanocyte cells and fibroblast cells. Ultraviolet alpha, or UVA, is in equal measure every second of daylight. So it doesn't matter whether it's a sunny summer's afternoon or a blustery winter's morning, you are experiencing the same exposure to UVA year-round every second of daylight. So it's imperative that we wear a broad spectrum SPF every single day, even if we work indoors, because ultraviolet alpha can travel through glass. So what does broad spectrum mean? Broad spectrum means that it protects you against UVB and UVA rays. So it will protect you from sunburn and from sun aging. There's only one ingredient used in luxury medical products that will offer broad spectrum protection all day, and that's the mineral zinc oxide. Zinc oxide is a physical sunscreen filter, which means that it sits on the surface of the epidermis and creates a mirror-like effect that bounces the sun rays off of the skin. The molecular structure of zinc oxide is a little bit like a snowflake that's made out of mirror. It's that mirror-like surface that allows the reflection of the sun rays, avoiding penetration of them into the skin. But the mesh-type effect of that structure means that zinc oxide is a breathable ingredient, meaning that it won't clog your pores, it won't make your skin greasy, and it won't give you that tacky feeling sometimes associated with sunscreen. It's vital that we all wear a broad spectrum sunscreen every single day to help target and address multifaceted skin conditions. It's the most important thing you can do to maintain a healthy, youthful complexion. When protecting an aging skin against UVA and UVB rays, you can choose the Illumia MD sunscreen that suits your client's skin type and their preference. If they would like a full coverage foundation, select the Moisture Matte SPF that will suit their skin tone, ivory, sand or amber. If your patient would like a BB cream type finish or a tinted moisturizer, the Sheer Hydration Versatile Tint offers broad spectrum sunscreen, hydration, antioxidant protection and a sheer coverage. The Clear Shield is oil-free for patients that might be experiencing early onset aging and oily or acne conditions. If you would like any more support or information on targeting aging for your valued patients, please contact your regional business development manager or regional trainer who would be happy to support you more in this area. Thank you for watching.